The AI core is located on Deck 3, also known as the crew deck. Chief Engineer Greg Adams had already had one of the core's access panels opened and was looking in confusion of its intact circuitry. The Crucible's energy wave was designed to disrupt and destroy all active synthetic systems, such as the Reapers. But the wave didn't stop there. It also affected the Geth and half of the Normandy's systems, including the Normandy's artificial intelligence Noah's Edie. But the damage to the Normandy was not as bad as they thought. They had discovered that the Normandy's main systems was shut down before the wave hit, and secondary systems was used to take the brunt of the inertial impact of the wave. As a result, this had protected the Normandy's main vital systems from being destroyed, and Joker wouldn't have been able to land or to crash land safely on the planet. But what puzzled them was that none of the crew came up with this creative safeguard. Adams used his Omni tool on Edie's main computer cores, scanning for any anomalies or damaged systems, and found nothing. All Edie's systems were still in 100% in full working order. He walked over to the room's large diagnostic table and to the lifeless shell of Ida's android body that was lying on top of its surface. He activated the table's diagnostic program and read the results on his Omni tool. Again, the results were the same as Ida's main AI core is in full working order, and Ida's program is nowhere to be seen. Suddenly, his concentration was broken by the sound of a commotion in sickbay that was adjacent to the AI core room. He heard Garrus, Chakwas, and Ken Donnelly's concerned voices. The AI core wasn't going anywhere, and he decided to see what was going on. He tapped the door's holographic interface. The door's hydraulics slides open the heavy blast-proof door effortlessly, and Adams walked into sickbay. To his alarm, he saw Garrus and Donnelly gently placing Tali onto a biobed.
Tali? What happened to her?
Chakwas had no time for this and immediately took charge.
I want all of you out of here now and leave me to attend to my patient, so move it!
Garrus was about to protest, but before he could, Chakwas had already marched all three men out of medbay and leaving them stunned. After the door to medbay had closed, Chakwas turned on her heels to face the medbay and to Tali. Before she could get started, she needed to get some privacy for herself and her patient. So she headed towards her desk. Then with 2 fingers, she tapped a small interface panel, and Chakwas looked through the medbay's windows. On the inside, nothing seems to happen, but on the outside, the glass started to black out. Satisfied that the glass had fully blacked out, she turned her attention back to Tali, who was still unconscious on the bed, and Chakwas was concerned that she had not regained consciousness. Chakwas was sure that there more to this than overexertion, so she got to work. She started with a full detailed scan. When she activated the scanner, a curtain of almost translucent blue light projected down and moved across Tali from head to toe. She looked over the results on her Omni tool, and as she read the information, a small smile started to play on her lips.
Oh, Tali.
On the flight deck, the Normandy's pilot, Lieutenant Jeff Joker Monroe, was bored. There was not much for him to do, and the Normandy was only traveling at sublight speeds, and only at sublight, until the Normandy's badly damaged hull was fully repaired. Joker just sat there in his flight chair looking at his holo-control readouts and damage control report updates. Then his mind started to wander, and to ED. Others would think that having a romantic relationship with an AI would be just creepy and disturbing. But ED was so much more than that. ED started life as an Alliance combat training VI at a training facility on the moon. That same program went rogue. Her violent reaction was her confusion as she was starting to become self-aware, and the only thing she could do was to lash out. Shepard was sent to deal with the rogue virtual intelligence and deactivate it. At that time, he didn't know of ED's existence. Her program was salvaged by Cerberus. They introduced Reaper code to her program, making her fully aware. She went from being VI to a fully active AI, always growing as a life form, and was installed into the new Normandy SRV-2. Then Joker noticed something very strange, an unusual power spike on one of his readouts.
What the hell is that?
He started a search. He used the Hollow interface to track down this strange reading and found it. It was originating from the Normandy's AI room that housed the cores. He knew that Engineer Adams was working in there, so he opened a comm link to him.
Joker to Adams. Are you still in the AI room?
I was until Karen kicked me out. I'm now heading back to engineering.
Wait a sec. Chakwas kicked you out?
Adams was not in the mood.
Is there a reason you called, or can I get back to engineering?
Then one of Joker's displays showed a graphical representation of a waveform, with a series of peaks and curves.
Hold on a sec.
Joker narrowed his eyes as he scrutinized the waveform. Adams was getting a little bit impatient.
Joker, what's going on?
Sorry about that, getting a strange waveform reading. It's originating from the AI room. It doesn't match any known formats in our database.
Send it to my Omni tool.
Stand by, sending you the waveform.
The elevator arrived at engineering when his Omni tool received the information. The familiar orange glow that formed the Hollow interface gauntlet lit up around his hand and forearm. With his free hand, he typed in a few commands in the interface, and a small Hollow display appeared just above his forearm. The display showed the waveform that Joker discovered as he studied it. He noticed something very familiar about it, and at the same time, he wasn't 100% sure.
You said that this originated from the AI core?
Yeah, but here's the weird thing. It's not coming from the core itself. It's acting in the same way as white noise. You can't hear it, but it's there. And on top of that, it's multiplying.
Suddenly, the realization slammed into Adams like a charging Krogan. He then typed in a new command on his Omni tool, and he brought up a second waveform above the unknown format. He then overlapped the two forms. They were a perfect match. The form was not on record because it was unique, and he had a good idea what it was.
Son of a bitch.
What?
Not now, Joker. I need to get back to the AI core. Adams out.
But before Joker could say anything else, Adams had cut the comms and then opened another channel.
Adams to specialist trainer.
The voice of the Normandy's British crew member came over his comm link.
Go ahead.
Meet me at the AI core ASAP.
What's the emergency?
Good question, he thought to himself. This white noise, this waveform, had structure, formation, and was very complex. As the doors to the elevator started to close, the only thing Adams could say was,
We'll find out when we get there.
In the medbay, Tali had regained consciousness. She sat up and swung her legs over the side of the bed so that she was sitting on the side of it. Chakwas was at her desk when she saw Tali sitting up. She called Garrus on the comms and requested his presence in sickbay. After that, she got up from her desk and made her way over to Tali.
How are you feeling, Tali?
A little confused. What happened?
You fainted. You overexerted yourself. But that was only half of what caused you to pass out.
What is the other half?
Garrus was making his way from the Normandy's main battery room to medbay. The windows to medbay were no longer blacked out, and he was relieved to see that Tali was awake. He could see that the doctor was talking to her, followed by Tali's head slowly bowing down, as if she had received some bad news. Tali and Chakwas looked in the direction of the medbay's door as they opened, and in walked Garrus.
Garrus Vakarian reporting in as ordered. I'm glad to see that you are up and about, Tali. You gave us quite the scare. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Garrus, really. I just need to get some rest.
Chakwas then handed Tali a datapad.
Here, give this to Mess Sergeant Gardner. It's your new dietary requirements, and then straight to bed for at least 8 hours. And Garrus here will make sure that no one disturbs you.
Of course, Doctor. Then I would recommend that Tali uses Shepard's quarters. It's isolated from the rest of the ship, and if need be, I can stand guard to make sure no one disturbs her.
I don't know, Garrus. All I will see in there is John.
Chakwas placed a comforting hand on Tali's shoulder and spoke softly.
I think it's perfect, and under the circumstances, Tali, I don't think that you'll have any problems sleeping there. If you do have any problems, call me, and I'll see if I can give you something to help you. So, for now, go and get something to eat, okay?
Chakwas watched Tali lift her head back up with new life. She nodded, got off the bed, and she watched them walk out of the room. But before she had a chance to settle down, Engineer Adams comes rushing in with urgency, with Specialist Trainer not far behind him. To say that the good doctor was a little upset would be saying that a Krogan has a temper, and Adams didn't have time to explain as he hurried past her.
Sorry, Karen, no time to explain.
What is going on here?
Trainer just shrugged her shoulders. She had no idea. And she was only here at Adams' request. Chakwas followed them into the AI room. She saw Adams work on the Core's main computer console, and Trainer watched him accessing the internal sensors. She frowned.
Any particular reason why you are reconfiguring the internal sensors to this room?
Adams brought up the waveform on the computer's main screen and turned to face them both.
Pop quiz ladies, what does this look like to you?
They both scrutinizing the waveform, and then Trainer realized what it was.
That's a thought wave pattern of an AI.
Adams smiled, and with a finger stroke on the interface, activates the room's reconfigured sensors. Slowly, something incredible started to happen. Star clusters started to appear in the AI room, and each star was giving off a gentle green glow. No bigger than a marble, they were all moving in different directions, slowly and gracefully. Trainer and Chakwas watched with awe as these stars moved around the room. Trainer watched them repelling off the room's walls with a small electrical discharge. The same reaction when they come in contact with the ship's equipment and each other.
It looks like they've created some kind of field, keeping them contained in the room and the Normandy.
Trainer, didn't you say that these are all AI thought patterns?
Trainer nodded.
Each individual star is a single intelligence.
They're more than that, Miss Trainer. Welcome to the Geth Consensus.
These are Geth. But how? I thought they were destroyed from the Crucible's energy wave.
We all did. But how do you know they're Geth?
It was during Shepard's time in the Consensus. His hardsuit computers recorded everything. At the end of every mission, the hardsuit's data is downloaded to the Normandy's main computer for analysis. And at that time, it recorded the thought patterns of the Consensus.
So how did they end up here, and is this all of them?
I have no idea how they got here. And to answer the next question...
Adams walked into the medbay, made a few adjustments to his Omni tool, and slowly waved it in front of him from left to right. As he did, they saw the same star clusters appear and disappear as he passed his Omni tool over them. Chakwas gasped in surprise, not knowing that disembodied Geth had been floating around in her medbay. But Adams didn't stop there. He got them to follow him to the mess hall, and he repeated the same process. The few crew members who were having lunch, including Garrus, Tali, and Kaidan, were stunned at what they saw.
By the spirits, what are those?
Keela, I don't believe it. These are Geth minds separated from their bodies.
Kaidan looked at Tali with dismay.
Wait a minute, you mean to tell me that we have disembodied Geth floating about the Normandy?
Kaidan was wondering how long they had been floating around the Normandy for. As Adams continued his sweep, then Tali saw something for a split second that was out of place. Tali shouted with excitement to stop and back up a little. Not knowing what he was looking for, he did so, and saw what Tali was getting so excited about. A single blue star in a cluster of green. Adams kept his Omni tool on the blue star and tracked its movement. Tali followed the blue star and waited until it was close enough. Then using her Omni tool, she actually plucked it out and held it gently in between her 2 fingers and thumb. Everyone gathered around, looking at this blue star with wonder, and Kaidan was first to speak.
If these are Geth minds, then why are they so small compared to this one, which clearly larger than the rest?
Remember, Kaidan, the Geth are no longer network intelligence because of the Reaper code upgrade, but a single Geth mind still houses a lot of data. So what you see here is them compressing their information, a simple and yet effective zip file.
Okay, so why is this Geth mind blue?
Probably because it's not a Geth mind.
Suddenly, Chakwas's eyes got wide with realization, and with great excitement, she knew who it was.
That's Edie.
Part of her, yes.
Part of her?
Edie is not a network intelligence. She is a single entity, and her processing power is off the chart of any Geth platform.
So what you're saying is that there are still parts of her mind floating about around the Normandy.
and they will all need to be found.
How many more?
Tali read the information on her Omni tool.
Looking at these readings, there are about 5 more to go.
Do the words needle in a haystack mean anything? So, until we find the rest of her, what are we going to do with this piece?
Tali had an idea.
I could easily create a containment unit to hold her in place until we find the rest of her, and then it's the simple case of placing her back into the core.
Chakwas protested.
Oh, no, you're not. You're supposed to be resting.
Kaidan looked at Adams.
Is there anyone else apart from Tali who can do this?
Specialist trainer here is more than qualified, Major. And I could also send up Engineer Gabrielle Daniels to help.
Tali handed the star over to Trainer, who reconfigured her Omni tool to match Tali's, and she gently plucked it from her fingers.
I better get started then, but we still need to find the rest of her.
Trainer walked off with the star and headed to the AI room, while Adams called for Engineer Daniels on the comlink. Kaidan knew what needed to be done.
We need to put together a search party to sweep every room and deck of the Normandy.
Then you better get started with Shepard's quarters. Tali will be resting there. I don't want anyone disturbing her.
I could do that, seeing as you appointed me as her shadow.
Then the pair of you had better get moving.
Adams, put together a search party to sweep of the Normandy. And Dr. Chakwas, I have a special assignment for you.
Chakwas looked puzzled.